Right then, final game of the tour, Manchester United against Everton. We've seen two performances with two real quality performances from United on tour so far. Second one against Bournemouth probably being the pick of the bunch in terms of what we saw from the players and how effective the system and the shape was starting to look, how together the players are, how good the press is, how physically conditioned they are. And pre-season is about preparation for the season. And what I've seen so far from this tour is that we look like we are being prepared for the season. Now, I actually managed a quick chat with a handful of different people today, some really cool people. I'm literally recording this as we've got back. It is 5 past midnight. The game has just finished out here in Chicago. We fly in like 8 hours. So I'm doing this, I'm getting to bed. This can get edited up by the team in Manchester, and then you guys will be watching it this weekend. So I managed to speak to Wilcox. I managed to speak to some of the coaches, managed to speak to a handful of different players. And it was something that I said to both Wilcox and one of the strength and conditioning coaches, which is, people put a lot of emphasis on pre-season, how important pre-season is, and I think pre-season is extremely important. But when I look at the game tempo and the travel and all the rest of the sort of things we've got to deal with while we're out here on tour, I actually think we're going to get more done when we're back in Manchester, when we're back at Carrington, in terms of the progression of our game model when it comes to adherence to it and all that sort of stuff. And everybody I spoke to went, of course we wanted to qualify for the Champions League. Of course we wanted to do better in the Europa League than we did. However, the silver lining in what was a horrendous season for us is the fact that we don't have to contend with 2 games a week. That means you can have a smaller squad. That means you can put your starting 11 out a little bit more. That means you can smash the lads in physical preparation just that little bit more. So by the time it comes to game day at weekend, they're prepared, they're physically fit, and they know their jobs inside and out. And I think that is absolutely massive. And that's what pre-season is all about. Now, okay, so far, 2 out of 2. And with Everton being probably the worst team in this little series that we're going to have to face, I think that's a massive plus for Manchester United coming into this. Now, David Moyes' Everton, I've caught the tail end of both of their games. They played twice before us. I think they look off it. They've not looked good with the ball. They've not looked good without the ball. They just do not look on it to me. They look like they're a step behind, and I think United have got an opportunity here to finish this US portion of the tour on a real high. And like I said, the results are not important, but you can't discount the results altogether. Now, Everton have resorted back to David Moyes' pragmatism. That's what he does. That's what's on the tin almost when you play up against the David Moyes team. It's 4-2-3-1 on paper. Recently, though, they've been experimenting with a 5-4-1 at times, trying to be compact, trying to be physical when it comes to defending. And players in unusual positions, whether it's pre-season or not, have caused Everton to look quite chaotic. Branthwaite and Tarkowski typically would form a quite robust, physical centre-half partnership, while the midfield, which presses relentlessly, disrupts your opposition rhythm. But injuries to those two at centre-half have directly affected their pre-season integration in a real big way. So Moyes has had to go with players that he maybe wouldn't go with. Now they've got attacking threats in Dye, McNeil, Beto. They're active when it comes to transition, and David Moyes is more than happy to sit off and to play you on the counter. He has tended to look like he's going to sit and be in a low block, absorb the pressure, and then look to try and break out of it. And I think that'll suit United quite well as we come into this game. We saw against West Ham that we were happy to let them have the ball and then take it and dominate territory when the time was right. And I thought tonight, or a couple of days ago, I guess, for you guys watching this, against Bournemouth, United did that, certainly with that first 11 in the first 60 minutes or so, really, really well. The shapes were nice. if I could be critical, and obviously I mentioned this in the review anyway, but if I could be critical of anything, it would be the fact that Bruno and Casemiro didn't quite jive, I don't think, in that midfield. It was probably a little bit aggressive. You're looking at 2 8s, really, rather than a 6 and an 8. But it didn't quite jive. Either they were a bit rusty or they didn't quite cover the sort of space that they perhaps needed to cover. And obviously then we saw Kobe come on in an advanced role. So him and Bruno have both played the advanced and the deeper role in 2 different games this pre-season. But yeah, I think it's an interesting prospect, and it's interesting playing 3 Premier League opposition in this. I think that's very fitting for us to hit up in the league. But I'm looking forward to playing Everton. They'll be a nightmare to break down. They'll be physical, and we will have to be at it. But if we can put in another performance and hit 3 solid performances in pre-season, playing the sort of football and drilling the sort of patterns that we expect to see, I think we could do bits. Now, one thing that I didn't think United have looked great at so far in pre-season is dealing with crosses into the box. Everton will put crosses in the box. Dwight McNeil will put crosses in the box. And this is why I'm happy that we're playing Premier League opposition, because you're going to see all the different machinations of things that you have to deal with when it comes to Premier League opposition. I like it. And I think it's a real positive for us. Now, in terms of the starting 11 I expect to see, it was interesting to see that he went with a bit of a rotated 11 tonight, a couple of days ago, against Bournemouth. I think we go with Tom Heaton again in net. I think it'd be Lenny Euro, right side centre half. I think De Ligt, central centre half. And I think Luke Shaw, left side centre half. I thought he was quite good. This is the big decision, isn't it? Against Everton, low block, Kobe and Bruno. When I spoke to a ton of people at the tailgates and the meetups and things like that, and a lot of people are asking me about. I've said I don't feel like United have got natural midfielders in the squad. Because my understanding of the system, which again, I'm not saying I'm an expert in this system, I'm trying to learn, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to ask the question directly of the manager, and had a really good chat with Rio, both on and off camera, about exactly what we're looking for in those sorts of roles. I still, with my understanding of it being what it is, I don't see any of the players being a perfectly natural fit for the roles that they are in that midfield as I understand them. That being said, Everton, the way I anticipate them playing, if he's going to try and match it up like you would in a Premier League game, what's the correct team to pick rather than just giving minutes, because that could be fucking anybody, couldn't it? Let's be honest, it could be fucking Collier and Casemiro for all we know. But if I was treating this like a game that I need to go and win because it's the Premier League, what is the best team that I can select? What are the attributes from the midfielders that I've got available to me that I want to select? And I go Bruno and Manu. And I try and play with a little bit of rhythm and maybe a touch more risk than you want. Like, you can pick a guy, but then you lack a little bit of something in press resistance and ball progression. On the right, I go Ahmad. I'm anticipating a low block. Let's get amongst it. On the left, I go Dorgu. He was fantastic against Bournemouth, playing with a little bit of risk and a little bit of flair in the final third. We go on Bumo and Cunha. And we haven't seen Joshua Zirkzee yet. I'd like to see Joshua Zirkzee. I don't think we're going to see Joshua Zirkzee. I think it'll be Højlund. I don't know what the script is with Zirkzee. I'd like to see Zirkzee. But put Højlund in, because I think it will be Højlund. Match winner for United. Manu. Anyway, that's my prediction. If you're out in Atlanta, keep an eye on our socials. We will do our best to hit up the tailgates and any of the fan meetups that there are. I've mentioned it in my review, but the hospitality has been sensational out here. And as much as I have that sort of weird social anxiety that I do have when it comes to meeting people, I try to put myself out there a little bit and it's quite rewarding what I do. And you know, once I'm in the flow of chatting to people, I'm okay. But it's I don't know. It's very hard to explain going into places and feeling all those eyes on you when we walk into places. But invariably, people want to come up and say how long they've watched the channel. People have been watching the channels for 10 years. It's very humbling, and the hospitality's been fantastic, and the conversation is generally good. People want to know like what's the match day atmosphere like, and it's just like being back in Manchester. It's great, and there's a hell of a lot of cool people out here that we meet, and I'll be grateful and thankful for that forever. I don't understand it, but when I say I hate it, I hate the attention. I don't dislike the meeting of people and listening to people's stories. I like authenticity and I like real. And when I get the chance to speak to real people, I like that. It's the attention I don't like. It's the military side of me just wanting to fucking hide in the corner and not be noticed. So when I am, I don't like that. But anyway, cheers for tuning in. Give us your score predictions and give us what you've enjoyed so far about the tour. And I guess if you're going to be in Atlanta, I'll see you out there. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.